Sawadee Krap and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod. And it's Monday, and you know what it means, all things MMA. And again, as always, in case you're new, this is not a review show. We're not just reviewing what just happened, because you probably listen to Ariel or Luke and Brian. I think that's the ones that I listen to. So I don't know who really listen to, but probably not to me to break it all down, which is fine. Even though I think I probably have more combat experience. Not more combat experience than Luke, but competition maybe experience in many of those. But not here to break it down. Here to look at what happened in terms of media reaction, media usage, and so on. Because as always, media prof at work. However, as always, when there's a one championship event coming up, I also then break down or preview the one championship event in the second half of the pod, because I simply assume not too many of you are familiar with one championship and the fighters just yet. Okay, but let's address the elephant in the room, UFC 281. What just happened, basically, over the weekend, right? And again, we've all seen the results, so let's just quickly dissect what's next in terms of how the media portrays things, how the fighters use the media, utilize the media, and so on. So there are a few things that I want to talk about. First of all, it feels nice to see Dan Hooker win again, doesn't it? Awesome. That Dan Hooker smile, finally again there, having fun at a press conference, joking around, fantastic. He made the most of the call out afterwards too. In the interview with Joe Rogan, he's like, "Joe, I love you." And any man walking the face of the earth, going to Perth, Dan Hooker takes on Perth. Made the most of it. That's how you do it. He's gonna be on Submission Radio again. Call out more people probably. Fantastic. So Dan Hooker knows how to use media, even though he doesn't always seem to enjoy it as much. He's not a shit poster on social media, but the moments when he's on interview with Joe Rogan, on Submission Radio, and so on, or on the Mac Live and so on, he's doing a great job being himself, being funny, but also calling out potential matchups. So I'm sure in one of the next interviews, he will call out someone in particular. Great job, Dan Hooker. That's how you do it, and the media loves it, and therefore gives Dan Hooker lots of attention. Well deserved. Perfectly done. Not talking about Claudio Puelles, because I think he's still flopping somewhere on the floor. So let's let him keep flopping. Then we had Chandler Poirier, of course, what we have to talk about, and Michael Chandler, the consummate professional. I think that's what he likes to call himself. That's a wrestling thing, I think, too, because all the wrestlers like Cormier, Bo Nickel, they all talk about like consummate professionals. I think that's a media training thing they get when they're wrestlers, I assume. Anyway, so the consummate professional, Michael Chandler, got professionally consumed by Dustin Poirier. But again, Chandler, like a media pro, like he's gonna work in the media afterwards somehow, right? Obviously, because he always says the right things. In the press conference, he's like, "Yeah, he was a better man," blah blah blah. Explained like his dirty tactics a little bit, and then he's like, "But of course you're gonna bounce back." And he still has this one name in his mind, which is Conor McGregor. And then he's like, "Conor, come back." He called out Conor McGregor. Conor's not gonna fight anyone on a losing streak, I believe. But still, smart choice. Michael Chandler is going to have another motivational / inspirational social media post today or tomorrow, I guess, when he's like, family time, recharging, and blah, blah. So, no, Chandler is great. He's going to pop up on Ariel's show again. Going to ask for the Conor fight. Chandler is also doing a great job. And, of course, the media is desperate to get Conor back, so they're also going to run with that, I believe. As for Dustin Poirier, even though he won, he's like the one who gets a little bit less media attention because he doesn't crave it as much, right? He's launching a new hot sauce or hot sauce type or whatever. So he's focusing on that. He's like, I'm just going to go home, do my thing, press conference, and then done. And that's the problem with Dustin Poirier. Like, he's not doing much. He's not calling out anyone. He didn't really call for the title fight like that actively. So I think that's where he could do better. And that's what also the media, because the media is like, yeah, okay, Dustin, see ya, bye. Like, you should be doing more. You should pushing the Dustin Poirier narrative more. Maybe Ariel does it again a little bit because he likes DP. But other than that, oh, there's not that much there. And yeah, I want to blame the media as well as I want to blame DP for that. But as I said in one of my latest podcasts, like DP, he's got his life, his stuff works, the hot sauce apparently works well. So maybe he thinks like, that's enough. I fight once a year, maybe twice a year, things pan out perfectly, and that's enough, and I don't need the hype. And they call, I fight, I get the money, and I go back home and do my hot sauce thing. So I don't need to worry about PR and so on. So fair enough. But ideally, he should be doing more. He should be calling out someone. Should say, okay, next, I don't know, Las Vegas, whatever, March, let's go. But he never really does that, right? So I think that's a missed chance on the Poirier side as well as on the UFC side, because, I mean, he's winning, so he's still the number 1 or 2 contender, right? So you should be pushing him more, and the media as well should pushing more for a Poirier narrative now that he choked Chandler. Okay, but let's talk about the main event, right? Izzy versus Pereira. Early stoppage, yes, no. I mean, maybe a little bit in a championship fight, but didn't look like he would be doing much in that moment anyway. So whatever, all good. As for the media, yeah. So Izzy clearly handled it like well, like respect for how he handled it. It was well done. He's gonna keep using now. He already posted on social media, right? He'll be back Law 15 because Alex didn't kill him. I mean, excuse me. So he bowed to the audience afterwards. Izzy is great at using the media, right? He's gonna be on his free style bender channel. David's gonna interview him, Blackamoto. Yeah, so that he's the one guy who knows exactly what to do with the media. As for Pereira though, just learn a little. If he would learn a little bit of English, right? From Glover, he's hanging with Glover right now. So because you see how I mean, right now I think the American audience is as receptive to foreign fighters as they've ever been. They were cheering for Whaley over Carla Esparza. I didn't even talk about this fight. Yeah, and Whaley running around like making like hearts with her fingers, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, so cool!" They were booing the American fighter, but cheering for the Chinese fighter, which is just something that you haven't seen before, probably, right? They're cheering for Paulo Costa right now. Moicano had his coming out press, not conference, but like octagon interview, right? He then referred to himself in the third person, like Moicano wants money. He was amazing, and the people laughed at him. He like used the F word the whole time. So yeah, as soon as you speak a little bit of English and you just let your character shine through, more people are gonna like you. Right now, the only people who like Alex Pereira are the ones that hate Izzy. But if Pereira maybe would be able to show more of his personality, maybe then more people would like him just for him and not just to hate on Izzy, right? So I think Pereira's team, even though his translator is awesome, he really translates the emotions and everything. That's great. I think he just adds something to it. I'm not sure, but yes, Pereira should be doing more on his own. As for the UFC, of course, they should be pushing the rematch right now. Like from a media perspective, it's the biggest match you can do right now in the UFC, I believe. And the hype will be huge. Added to the Perth card, it's like 3 months from now. If that's enough, I'm not sure. But if they're both healthy, they both want to do it. I mean, that would be a sick card, obviously. And it would put so much pressure on Stylebender. But if he pulls it off, then respect. Yeah. So that's my thought here. Yeah, so, and the UFC should maybe also like highlight Pereira journey now like a little bit more, like a new champion, embedded, whatever. But come the next pay-per-view, they're going to do that probably. But yeah, I think from a media point of view, Pereira or his team should be doing a bit more. Maybe Glover Teixeira can help there. Maybe he's got the connections, but he's also not very active. So if you need some help, Alex, I'm here for you. Then last thing that I wrote down was that actually the announcement Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev for Perth, we all expected that obviously. Volk is getting better at all things media, and I have to say, like this, Andrew Schulz had a live stream, a flagrant live stream, like I think 2 days before the fight, and he had on Volkanovski, and Volkanovski on Schulz is always funny and hilarious AF, and you wouldn't even think that Volkanovski can be that funny. So that's cool. I think he's a bit cringy on his own YouTube channel, but with like other guys, he's really funny. Usman was on there, who's also really funny. Even Aljamain Sterling, who was on there, who was also funny. Like, if they just have the chance to show their personality, they're all quite cool, which was kind of fun to see, actually. So I think Volkanovski probably has to do more of the selling than Islam, which is going to be hard. Like, both are not great at like selling stuff. I mean, Islam doesn't care, and Volk is like just not on easy level yet. So let's see if he can do that. But yeah, so I think they need help from the UFC to really like push that and sell that, and maybe even from the media. So they should be focusing on like the Volkanovski journey and how he beat everybody. Same for Islam, and now those both forces collide. So I think the media and the UFC should really be on the same page there and do something in this regard. Okay, let me slide up in my notes. What else do we have? Oh yeah, so that's enough for the UFC 281, because I mean, you've probably seen all the highlights 1,000 times, just like me. The one thing that was nice is that Li Jingliang, this time again with a flashy suit, and this time nothing went wrong. He could actually come to the event and wear it. So congratulations, Li Jingliang, looking firefly as always. And this time you can actually wear the suit and go where you plan to go. So congratulations. All right, enough of that. Let's quick break in case you want to drop off, but now we talk about One Championship. So One Championship is back with one on Prime 4. Yeah, one on Prime 4. With the main event being Kiamrian Abasov versus Christian Lee, both being champions. This is now welterweight, so Christian Lee goes up from lightweight to welterweight to challenge the welterweight champion, who is Kiamrian Abasov. Christian Lee, the younger brother of Angela Lee, who you might know because that's probably the one fighter and the one female fighter you know from One Championship. Christian Lee became a super young champion, lost it, got it back, and I've been doubting him for a while because of his reckless style, but he always manages to somehow just pull through. So I'm not doubting him anymore. He's gonna just come forward, try to get a hold on his opponents, somehow throw them to the ground, and then either ground and pound them, strangle them. But he's so good at scrapping, like ridiculous. Like, even if things don't go his way, like he never stands still. He's just moving the whole time. Insane. It doesn't look it doesn't look pretty. It looks exciting. It doesn't look pretty all the time. It looks very exciting though. So yeah, don't doubt Christian Lee. Abasov, however, looked very dominant in his last fight. That's going to be very interesting, I think, and it's a deserved main event. Even though you haven't heard of those two fighters too much, but they're both on rolls right now. That's why they're champions, and it's gonna be a fun fight. Like, Abasov is really, like, I mean, dangerous, and Christian Lee is just like this unstoppable force who just keeps going. I think his nickname is the Warrior or something. It's a bit lame, but it fits because he just keeps fighting. Like, even if it doesn't look like it's going his way, he never stops. So that's what I appreciate of Christian Lee. Co-main event is Rodtang, the Iron Man Chitmanong, versus Joseph Lassiri. That's the flyweight Muay Thai World Championship. Yeah, so Rodtang is the one Muay Thai fighter that you might know, the one that always like walks forward and hits himself in the face and just doesn't block shots, just takes them and then just knocks the other guy down. That's Rodtang. Joseph Lassiri just became world champion not too long ago. Yeah, it's hard to go against Rodtang. Like, when I'm hesitating right now, I'm just thinking about like the last few fights that I saw of Joseph Lassiri, and he's like very good. Like, he's very good, very technical, great fighter. And Rodtang is gonna smash him. I don't see this happening any other way. And unless or until Rodtang's chin goes, and it has to go at some point because he's just taking so much damage all the time. But until it goes, he's just going to walk everybody down. But maybe it goes. Maybe that's the fight where it goes. Maybe that's the one fight where the chin goes, and then he's gonna lay on the canvas. But if that doesn't happen, then Rodtang is just gonna put on another like Rodtang show, I would assume. Again, don't want to take things away from Joseph Lassiri, so it's going to be a fun fight. Like, Lassiri is really good, evasive, technical, great fighter. You can learn so much from watching Joseph Lassiri if you're into Muay Thai. But then there's Rodtang, who just walks everybody down. So it's going to be a fun fight. So yeah, check it out. I'm really curious to see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lassiri just picks him apart, stays evasive, elusive, just picks him apart from the outside. Who knows? Who knows? Like, I mean, sometimes Rodtang struggles. You can see when Rodtang struggles and when he's frustrated, he's like, hits himself and points in the middle of the ring, like, come on. But you don't have to get into a firefight with him. There's no rule that says, yeah, engage in a firefight with Rodtang. There's no rule like that. So you can't just low kick him and pick him apart from the outside. So maybe that's what Lassiri is going to do. So watch and see. The third bout on the card is Bibiano Fernandes, the former bantamweight champion, versus Stephen Lohman from the Philippines. Stephen Lohman is hot right now. Bibiano Fernandes is the legend of the sport, has been a champion for a long time. So that's going to be a great fight, I believe. I'm not sure who I'm picking because Lohman again is on a hot streak, but it's always tough to pick against Bibiano Fernandes. But age, who knows? That could be a close one actually. I'd still pick Bibiano Fernandes because it's Bibiano Fernandes, but I mean, and Lohman is on fire, so that could be very interesting. The fourth bout is Cosmo Alexander versus Juan Cervantes from the United Kingdom. Maybe it's Juan Cervantes. Sorry, I don't know Juan Cervantes. I know Cosmo Alexander. You know Cosmo Alexander from ending Sage Northcutt. That was that guy 2 years ago or so. Hasn't fought since. I don't really know why. They said like visa issues, but it's a bit weird. So hasn't fought since he sent Sage into the Shadow Realm, but he's back now. He's been like in a bit on an up and down slide before the Sage fight, but yeah, so it's also his first Muay Thai fight back. Like before it was like all it was like first Muay Thai, then lots of MMA, and now it's a Muay Thai fight again. So, but you've seen the power that Cosmo Alexander has. So, if he connects, then it's probably like if he connects flush, then it might be game over. And the first bout on the opening bout on the main card is Kevin Bellingham versus Kim Chae-wong. Kevin Bellingham from the Philippines used to be like this perennial contender for like a long time. Lots of wushu, spinning back kicks. But if you time them, I mean, it's easy-ish. I mean, easy in MMA, right? But, I mean, moving backwards, like avoiding them, yeah, or blocking them, okay. But what we've seen works apparently the best is if you time it right and they spin, and in that moment when they spin, you just punch them in the face. But, of course, you have to time it perfectly, because if you don't time it perfectly, you're going to have that foot in your stomach and you're going to fly across the ring, the cage, wherever you're fighting, right? So it's difficult. But if you time it correctly, like, and Kevin Bellingham had some issues with that in his last few fights, if you time it, like, if the timing is just right, you time this wushu spinning back kick and then you just send him flying backwards. So let's see how that goes. But Kevin Bellingham is definitely an exciting fighter. The lead card, and it's crazy that Jonathan Haggerty is on the lead card. Jonathan Haggerty, probably the Muay Thai fighter who gave Rodtang the most problems. They fought twice. And Jonathan Haggerty is probably the best foreign Muay Thai fighter right now, the best white Muay Thai fighter right now. He's facing Vladimir Kuzmin, who I'm not that familiar with, to be honest, but never. Jonathan Haggerty called the general, so never bet against the general. All right, who else do we have? We have Ruslan Emil Begulu back. We know him already. We have Danielle Kelly back, which is nice, against Maria Molchanova, who I unfortunately don't know. But who I do know, and this is going to be fun, is Liam Nolan is also back in the Muay Thai action. It's the opening bout of the lead card, which is going to be fun. So check out the first fight with Liam Nolan, also right from the UK. Great, also like nice technique. I like watching him at times. He's fighting Eddie Abasolo from the United States, who the last time around seemed like very aggressive, if I remember correctly. So that should also be a fun bout. So again, a nice card. Maybe not the superstars that you're all familiar with, but definitely worth checking out. I'm gonna start watching from the first fight from the prelims, the lead card, how they call it, at One Championship. And it's not One UFC, it's One Championship for the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years now. So check this out. Let me know what you think. And let me know your picks, maybe even. We can compare, of course, who's right afterwards. I'm right. Until then, as always, let me know your thoughts about UFC 281 as well, of course, and again, of One Championship that's happening this coming weekend. Until then, as always, like, share, subscribe, obviously. Rate this podcast wherever you listen to it. Stay safe, take care, keep your guards up. Saudi Cup.